welcome back to the Hallmarkies podcast. I am Amy, and I am taking over for Rachel today as the host of the podcast, and I am so excited. So today's theme for the podcast is the Hallmark Channel app. So when you search the Hallmark Channel on the App Store, a blue app comes up that has just like information about the channel and different movies that you can watch. So we thought we would pick 3 movies from the app and discuss them today. And today our special guests are the lovely Kaycee. Hello, I don't know which direction. And then the wonderful Lisa.
Hi, guys.
So the 3 movies we picked were Mail Order Bride, Lies Between Friends, and Smart Cookies. And they're all from like kind of different eras of Hallmark. Would you guys agree? Like all of them are different. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't we just start out with Kaycee's movie, Mail Order Bride. I'm just going to give a quick description of it, and then you can talk about it since you picked that one, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So, Mail Order Bride came out on Hallmark Channel in 2008, and it's basically a story of a lady who is a con woman and works for this man named Tom. She wants to get out of that situation, so she takes the place of her deceased friend Jen, becomes a mail-order bride, goes and meets this guy named Bo, who thinks that she's Jen, and then Tom, her old boss, finds out she's there. Bo finds out she's not really Jen, and just chaos ensues from there. There's a lot of shooting and, yes, other things. So, yeah. All right, Kaycee, take it away. I don't know.
Okay. Yes. So I picked Mail Order Bride because I love history, and this is set in like the late 1880s. And I was like, okay, Mail Order Bride. Yeah, that sounds totally fun. Like, you know, One Calls the Heart gone Mail Order Bride. Sure. Yeah. That's not this movie. Okay. So first of all, this is pre-Happy Hallmark. For those of y'all who are maybe new Hallmark fans, such as myself, this is not your happy When Calls the Heart vibe. This is kind of dark, actually, for Hallmark. It's not inappropriate or anything. Well, we'll get into that. But it had me a little shook. Just because of it was kind of crazy, but I still had a lot of fun with it because, you know, it takes place in like the 1800s, and she decides to go. Diana is her name. She decides to go in her deceased friend's place to this random, like, I think she went to Kansas or something.
It was like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was like the middle of nowhere, and she's just like still in her saloon girl getup or whatnot, and she's like not even like, I felt like she wasn't even trying to be Jen because she still had her bosom still popping out and stuff.
Yeah, and then her excuse was like, "Oh, this isn't my luggage."
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, so she arrives in this town, and Bo helps her out, and her luggage falls like all over the street, and it's like her brasiers and her corsets and her like very scandalous clothing. She's just like, this isn't mine. This is not mine. And she's like trying to scoop everything out, and he's like, hello, my love. And I'm just like, what is going on here? And so he takes her back to, he takes her back to his ranch. She knows nothing about ranching. She's like snooping around. He throws her an engagement party, and as they're dancing, and she's dancing with all these men, she's pickpocketing them. Like, oh my word, what is going on here? Like, is she even trying? Because she's trying to get money to go to San Francisco to get away from Tom, who basically has ownership of her. So that was like completely bananas. He finds out. So the next day he's like, did you have a good time last night? And she's like, oh, I sure did. And she tries to like make out with him, and he stops her, and he's like, I know what you did last night. And I'm like, what is happening here? So then she confesses that she's not really Jen. She's actually Diana. Jen really died, and all this stuff. And all this chaos ensues, and he basically lies to her and says that the stagecoach doesn't come for another like 3 weeks or something like that, and you're gonna pay me back for all the trouble that you've given me. And so he makes her work at his ranch, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get what you see. I don't get what they see in each other. Like, did you see that, Amy? Like, did you see the chemistry there?
There wasn't any really. I was like, so weird. Like, I didn't get it, but I mean, you know, he said it'd been like 3 years since he'd like seen a woman or something like that. So I guess he's just like, all right, well, there's a woman here. I might as well, you know, take it or leave.
Yes. And then the most bonkers thing of all. So Tom finds out that Diana is in this town, right? So he basically chases after her, and they're in the saloon. And Bo walks in, and he's a farm boy, okay? He's supposed to be a big buff farm boy. He gets beat up by this city slicker, and I'm like, what? And then, so he rides back to town, and it's like a 10-mile like horse ride. It's a couple hours. I don't know. Anyways, and he's like basically dying. He has a broken rib and a beat up face, and she nurses him back to health. And then this is the part where it gets a little scandalous. This was not Hallmark. I was like, what's going on here? He basically says to her, okay, little people ears, close your ears. He basically says to her, when he wakes up after he's recovering from his injury, who took my shirt off? And she says, I did. And he said, good. And then they get it on.
They start making family. That's how Rachel refers to it, is making family. And I'm like, he just broke like a rib, and
that's like the last thing he's thinking of. I mean,
exactly. Like, he's bleeding. He was bleeding like 5 seconds ago, and he broke a rib. But y'all are gonna get it on, I guess. Okay.
And y'all have fallen in love, and I don't get it.
It didn't make much sense. Yeah. And then, you know, there's a shootout after that. Pretty much.
A pretty awesome shootout, and like they're throwing torches at the barn and all this stuff, trying to get Diana. And then basically Bo and Diana win, and Tom is he's actually a con man himself that nobody's been able to get, and he's part of like the Irish mafia, which I don't know. And then Diana and Bo get married happily ever after, the end. So
even though she's still getting money from places she shouldn't, but you know.
Yeah, and she's still pickpocketing people even at her own wedding.
Yeah.
I have to say it's a wedding, because that's amazing. And can I just make 2 points very quickly about this movie?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
One.
Go for it.
If you're going to look for it, make sure you put Mail Order Bride Hallmark, because if you try and Google Mail Order Bride,
something else will come up.
You're going to get some other results that you might not want to go to. Second of all, on Internet Movie Database, they have this other poster. Okay, this you can't really tell, but at the very bottom it says, "A Little Hustle on the Prairie."
Oh, they get some hustling going on. That's right.
Not a little house on the prairie. It says a little hustle on the prairie. You know it's you've got because it doesn't say Hallmark Channel. It says as seen on the Hallmark Channel. I'm like, oh, you know it's a good one.
So 2008 Hallmark was a little bit more frisky than now. So now that we gave like a little bit of premise, I think since this is like an Old West theme, we should compare what elements are in this that are not in When Calls the Heart, since that's the Old West current day Hallmark thing. So okay. What do you think?
First of all, saloon girls.
Yeah, there's none of those.
There's none of those. No saloon bar fights. None of those.
I wish there was, though. Like, honestly, can we just get, like, Lee and some random guy just, like, throwing down in the saloon?
That would be legit. Let's see here. No pickpocketing, no swindling. Let's see here.
I gotta say, all the bad guys in One Calls the Heart are pretty tame.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, despite this movie being so completely bonkers, the bad guys were really good. Like, there were reasons for them to be bad. Whereas in One Calls the Heart, it's like, oh, you're trying to put a railroad in my town. You're a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, we need a little more meat. And this had a lot more edge.
There's stakes.
Yes.
There's real stakes in Mail Order Bride. Yes, exactly.
Real stakes.
There was the sheriff was not helpful pretty much at all in this movie. I mean, the Mounties, you could argue they're kind of helpful in One Calls the Heart. I mean, it depends. Yeah, but I mean, it's really like just a complete opposite. So you can see that between 2008 and when did One Calls the Heart start? Like 2012?
Yeah,
14?
2012, something like that. Yeah,
something like that. In that like 4 or 5 year gap, Hallmark dramatically changed their outlook on the Old West. So
yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This was more like Little House on the Prairie, take it up one notch.
Right.
Yes.
I would say like not early Little House on the Prairie, more like mid to end Little House on the Prairie when the girls got older and there's a little more, stuff. It wasn't as like, hey, the 5-year-old can watch this because she's read Little House in the Big Woods,
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say.
All right, so is there any other points you'd like to say about this movie?
Well,
go ahead.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, one thing that kind of was fun for me as a postable, the lady Diana is played by Daphne Zuniga, and she's the mean lady in the pilot.
Oh, okay.
The boss.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was
never
like,
shows up again, and I'm always like, what happened to that lady?
Yeah. But it was so funny to me because I was looking at, Diana and her getup, and I was like, why do you look so familiar? And so I looked her up on IMDb, and I was like, oh my gosh, she was in the pilot of Signed, Sealed, Delivered. She's the crazy lady. So there was one thing there. And then the second thing, also postable related, the set of like the Midwest, the saloon in that area, that's the same set they used for what's her name, Mr. DeLorme and Renita Hayweather's like love story, the story that Rita writes, and it's like 7,000 pages long, and like it's about her and Norman, but they're set in a Midwest town, and you can see like they cut out into them being in the Western town, and he saves her. That's the same set, and I was
super familiar.
Yeah.
It looks super familiar, and I'm like, what is that from? Because I'm like, is this like an old iteration of where they film One Calls the Heart now? But when I looked it up, I'm like, it's like a different farm. So
yep.
Yeah.
So 2 fun postable facts.
All right, do you have anything to add, Lisa?
Yeah, so this was written by Neil and Tippy Dabrowski. I think that's how you pronounce it. And they've written a billion movies for Hallmark, including Smart Cookies, which we're going to talk about. But they've written like a ton of movies, like basically all of our favorites. So I pretty much love the fact that this was 2008, and they've written over the years, and so their style has evolved. But like it's a bunch, this Bridal Wave, A Royal Christmas, When Calls the Heart episodes, Love on the Air, North Pole, Crown for Christmas, Surprised by Love, like all the good ones.
Oh, wow.
And yeah.
We need to get them on the podcast.
Yeah. Y'all come on over.
I'll put that on my list of people to possibly contact.
Yes.
All right, so if we had to rate this movie in like a Crowns rating 1 to 5, what would you guys give it right now?
I would probably give it a 3.5. I was originally going to rank it lower because I was so shocked by it. I was like, what the heck did I just watch? But it was so fun for me because it was so bonkers and so bananas out of, what I'm used to as the Hallmark Channel. And I thought it was fun. I didn't think the characters really had all that much chemistry, but that's okay. She's a mail order bride, and they're not supposed to have chemistry really because he literally just met her like 2 seconds ago. I I do wish we could have seen a little bit more of them falling in love. Sans the family making, but it's all good.
All right, Lisa, what would you rate this?
Let's do the same. Let's do 3.5 because I love Daphne Zuniga. I loved her since Gross Anatomy. And when that movie came out, I was obsessed and I wanted to be her. Mostly because she ends up with Matthew Modine. Sorry, spoiler alert if you've never seen that movie. But I mean, the fact that this is just on Hallmark and it's called Mail Order Bride and the tagline is a little hustle on the prairie. Yes. 100% in. Yes.
It's a classic, and I'm gonna agree with you guys. I think it's a solid 3.5. This is good, and I would watch it again. Would you guys watch it again?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I watched it again for the laughs. I mean, I was laughing. I was like, what the heck, y'all?
All right. Well, our next movie was picked by Lisa, and it's called Lies Between Friends, and it was on Hallmark Channel in 2010. This was pre-Hallmark Movies and Mystery being an official channel, but this was considered one of Hallmark's mystery movies because Hallmark Movies and Mysteries didn't come into the scene until 2014-ish. But basically, a little synopsis. It's about a group of friends from college, 14 years after they graduated. They go to one of their aunt's bed and breakfasts to celebrate kind of like a bachelorette / bridal shower weekend for one of their friends. And then, of course, one of their friends dies. And the main character, Joss, tries to find her killer, falls in love with the local sheriff in the process. And yes, so Lisa, what did you think of this movie?
Okay, first of all, when I chose this movie, I was using my phone, the Hallmark app on my phone. Mm-hmm. And the main picture is this giant picture of all these couples in this big picture. And the blurb says, 14 years after graduation, a group of college friends convene one weekend for a bridal shower. The first night sees neglected friendships rekindled and old tensions resurfacing. And I thought, oh, it's going to be like The Big Chill, but for Hallmark. It's just going to be a bunch of friends getting together, drinking wine, and coming out. And that's all I knew about it. And I thought, okay, somebody's going to have maybe like kiss somebody because it's Hallmark. Or somebody's going to be like, you cheated off me on that one exam. Bam. Something like that. I didn't know somebody died. Like 20 minutes in, the girl falls off the roof, and I'm like, what am I watching? And I pull up the thing again, and I'm like, this didn't say anything about death. And so then I go to Hallmark. Oh, a Hallmark actual site says old jealousies and deeply buried secrets lead to murder. I thought it was just going to be a bunch of like guy and gal friends like getting together, drinking a bunch of wine and telling secrets. No, there's murder. And I'm sorry, but it was just all over the place. Crazy fun because not only was there murder, there was cheating, there was teen pregnancy, there was talk of abortion. I mean, there was drinking. I was like, what? It was amazing.
This is not something you would see on Hallmark today. Like, definitely no. Like, not at all. Like, it was even too racy for Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. Like, even on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, this is too much.
Like, they should bring up abortion. I was like, oh, wow, this is getting deep. Although, I'm going to go ahead and be honest.
I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, they say it, but I don't think they say the word. They say she wanted
to
terminate,
yeah.
And for those of y'all that haven't seen, I won't give too much away, but let's just say that there was some babies happening and young kids, and murder and lots of wine, and even the drinking. Like, they don't really do that a whole lot. I mean, usually drinking now is like celebratory. Like, people will like have a glass of champagne at something, or there might be a beer between buds when they're talking. You know, like dudes like beer, and they'll open it but never drink it. Which, but this was like wine and let's stay up and drink. And I mean, overall though, I was super into it. I was like, because I had no idea. I had no idea who ended up. I was second guessing everybody. I thought every single person in the movie except the main character was the murderer at one point. I was like, oh, you did it. You did it.
I know.
Yeah. I know.
I was like, oh, the aunt did it. No, Laura or whatever did it. No, the other lady did it. I literally thought everyone did it at one point. I'm like, some random guy they knew in college probably did it. Like, who knows?
So it was not what I expected in terms of tone, but I had so much fun with it.
Yeah. I was shook, man.
Yeah.
I watched that last night. I was like, I messaged y'all and I was like, I am shook right now.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And I think for me, it was the fact of, again, I read the same synopsis. It was like, oh, a bunch of friends, you know, petty stuff, whatevs, cool, whatevs. And then there were so many plot twists, and there's so many things mentioned, and I was just like, what is this? This is on the Hallmark Channel?
Yeah.
Dang, y'all.
I gotta say, I'm in college right now, and the whole part, spoiler alert if y'all haven't watched this, about the one, Kate was pregnant, and then the other girl was like, oh, I'm gonna take and raise this baby as a senior in college from my friend, when the dad is the fiance of another one of my friends, and I'm gonna pretend it's my baby. I was like, I'm a senior in college. No. Like, I don't think anyone I know in college would be like, yeah, that sounds normal.
We'll
do that and then keep it a secret.
I can't even get people to pick me up at the airport, and this woman's like, I'll take care of your baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Like, forever.
Like, I understand she was trying to, you know, like, talk her friend out of, you know, not terminating the pregnancy and everything. But, you know, I would have been like, oh, maybe think about adoption or whatever. Not like, hey, I'll take the kid. I'll raise it. Like,
can you imagine going to your parents and asking, so here's the thing. There might be a way for me to save a baby's life, and then we're going to raise it, and then you're going to be their grandparents. Could you help me? Like, when do you talk about that? When do you broach that subject? You know, it's the whole thing was bananas, and I loved every second of it. It was so off the wall. And then there was a crazy romance thrown in too for the main character and the sheriff. I mean, it was just so ridiculous. But they were together in real life, so I really like that because they actually were together.
All right.
They have a real life kid together, and I was like, okay, I'm into this. But yeah. Bananas, all of it, so good.
Oh my gosh, so bananas. Right. And then for like when the doctor goes and looks up the records, I'm like, oh, you are violating HIPAA.
Yeah.
I thought she did it for a while.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought all of them did. I thought they were all in cahoots together. Okay. Yeah, I was like, someone pushed that girl off that roof.
And everybody actually knows, just not the main character. I thought they all were in on it at one point.
Okay, I do have a question really quickly about the death, just real quick. Okay, so at the end when they reveal the whole thing, it got really detailed for a lot of clues that we didn't get. Like, all of a sudden they were like, and then you took these mints out and you coated them in peanut oil, and then we're so far away from a doctor. And I'm like, what? Who said? Did I miss peanut oil and the allergies? Like,
yeah, when she checked the medical records, it said she had said that she had almost died her sophomore year in college from a peanut allergy. Okay. And Doug, the murderer, was the one who signed her release papers when she got out of the hospital, which I also thought was weird. Because I'm like, but he's with the other girl, so why is he with Kate at the hospital when she's having a peanut allergy problem? Can't she call a parent or, like, someone other than
Doug? That was just super detailed to get all those mitts covered in peanut oil just to break in, just to leave them on the off chance she'll eat one and then die. Like,
this is really specific. It was way too specific.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a couple of questions. So first off, you guys are both married, correct? I'm correct in that. Yeah. All right. So would you compare any of this to your bachelorette and or bridal shower party? Did anything like this occur?
No. First of all, it was one night. I could not swing a whole weekend with people. They'd be like, "What? No, you're crazy." It was one night, and I'm sorry, it's not Hallmark friendly, but I got so drunk that the next day I was sweating like all day, and people were like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be fine." It was terrible.
Yeah, no. I got married like several days after college graduation. I didn't really have a bachelorette party. I mean, I just hung out with friends. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I had a bridal
So this movie's
shower.
super unreal.
Well, my sister went to Vegas. My sister actually took a whole weekend for her bachelorette party and went to Vegas. So I'm sure shenanigans happened there. But I don't know. I was younger, so I don't know.
Alrighty. Well, I just thought that would be funny. So, what in this do you think we wouldn't see on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries today?
All 100.
All of it? Yeah. Definitely the abortion thing I don't think would have happened. I really don't think they joke about anaphylactic shock anymore. Or anaphylaxis. Am I saying that right? Yeah. I don't think they would joke about that anymore. I don't think they'd have someone having a baby with someone else's fiance. Like, all of it just would not, I don't think they'd even air it now, like on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
You know, it's funny you say that because from the first moment it started, and Gabrielle Anwar, the main character, shows up with that amazing bob. It was just so great. Even that they probably wouldn't do because now everybody has really long, loose, and flowy hair, and unless you're a villain, and then it's super tight, like up in a bun. But even that, I was like, and all of her clothes were very arty and like severe, and I even thought just her whole style, they wouldn't do anymore unless she was like a villain and intentionally, you know what I mean? Though, like I just thought, just from her first look, but I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. I kind of wish that Chesapeake Shores was more like this.
You wish
Yeah.
I Chesapeake Shores.
Yeah.
Weird flex, but okay.
Well, no, I mean, okay, so here's the thing. Again, Lives Between Friends, so bonkers. I was not expecting it to be Lifetime. I mean, like, I was kind of like, oh my goodness. Like I said earlier, I was shook. But once we got past all the boring beginning, because the beginning was like, okay, what's going on? Up until that girl died, then it was like, oh, we have all these things. Like the whole, you know, guy has a baby with the best friend of his fiance, whatever thing. I mean, that's a storyline in itself. And I feel like, not that Chesapeake Shores needs to do that. We don't need to be like hanky-panky with like a bunch of different people, but we need a little more meat, you know? And I feel like because all the siblings in Chesapeake Shores, they're all, you know, in their 20s and 30s. I mean, we need a little more than just like, oh, the land is tension, or, you know, Trace is going off to Europe. See you later, bud. Like, let's get with Lee. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, give us some stakes.
Doug back, and let's get some like love triangle action happening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Alrighty.
Okay,
all right. So, what would you guys rate this one on a scale of 1 to 5?
I'm gonna go with 4.5 because I loved every crazy second of it. It was awesome.
What about you, Kaycee?
I think I'd stick with my 3.5. Just because the beginning was
All
super
right.
slow for me. And then I was shook. I was just like,
Yeah.
but I will watch it again because it's just one of those movies where it's like a train wreck waiting to happen and you're just like glued.
Yeah, so I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go about 3.5. This is definitely, I really like this one, and I think now if someone's like, "Oh, Hallmark Channel isn't racy or whatever," I'll show them this movie.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like,
Be like,
I'd like to differ.
just watch this. Exactly. All right. So the movie I picked was more recent. So it's Smart Cookies from 2012. And this is actually one of the only movies where Girl Scouts of America has actually allowed a movie to be made with them, like their logo and stuff in it. And it stars, of course, Bailey Madison from Good Witch. And it's basically a high maintenance realtor is forced into doing some community service. And so she becomes the leader of a hopeless group of Girl Scouts to assist them in the regional cookie drive competition. Yes. So this was my pick specifically because I was a Girl Scout. I also love this movie, and I love Bailey Madison. And it's just so cute. It's so adorable. The little Girl Scouts, and it's very relatable if you were a Girl Scout because there was the different type of girls in this movie. There was the overachiever troop, which was the opposite troop. I describe that as those overachiever troop that does everything perfectly, and like there's never a problem. There's never a problem that you see. And then, the other troop, it was very close to what I feel my troop was like. We had all these different girls with all these different personalities, different problems. I love how they incorporated like the boy craziness into it with the one girl. That definitely happened. The joke is in Girl Scouts that the killer of Girl Scouts is going to be boys and sports because those are the two reasons that girls normally leave Girl Scouts. And I just thought it's super cute. It's super realistic. That lady should not have in any way, shape, or form been a Girl Scout. I highly doubt she is first aid trained or went through the leader training before doing this. But yeah, it was a very good representation. What did y'all think? Kaycee, what did you think?
I thought it was super cute. I'm glad I saved this one for last because the first two movies, like, wow. But this one was like, oh, happy Hallmark again. And it kind of honestly reminded me of a Disney movie, like one of those, Friday night Disney movies from like the 90s or whatever, like Motocross, or I don't know. It just had that feel because you had like all the girls and they're just, a bunch of kids being kids, I guess. And then you had the lady who had no idea what she was doing. And, even the little girl who didn't talk and she was like a mute until they told her to sing. And she just like broke out in her little American Idol voice and stuff and dancing on the streets. And all the people were like, yeah! I was like, oh my gosh, this is like Disney. I thought it was really adorable. Did not know the tidbit about the whole Girl Scout thing that you just mentioned because that was one question I had. I was like, are those real Girl Scout cookie boxes? Like, is that allowed? And
yeah,
because I love me some Thin Mints and Samoas and all that good stuff. So I was definitely up on that. I also kind of enjoyed the fact that the romance wasn't overly saturated in this movie because it was more about the Girl Scouts. I thought that was fun. And I feel like if this movie were made today, there would have been a sequel. I totally think there would have been a sequel with it, just because we didn't see a lot of that romance, and I think that would have been fun to explore. I thought all the kid actors were great. Of course, Bailey Madison is adorable in this movie. She's like the cutest little thing ever. And I'd seen her in other movies when she was young, but she's just like super cute. Love her. Trying to think of anything else. Yeah, I think it's a great one to watch with like your girls or your kids or whatever. It's definitely a fun family friendly movie.
Yeah, they actually, the reason they partnered with Hallmark in 2012 for this movie was because it was the 100-year anniversary of Girl Scouts. So that's why they originally did this like little partnership, was because it was 100 years, and they did a lot of like Girl Scouts did a ton of stuff in 2012 that they wouldn't normally do, like promotional wise and stuff. So one of the things was they made this movie and partnered with Hallmark. But yeah, so Lisa, what do you think?
Okay, so I'm going to be a terrible person and tell you that I was offended because I've seen this back in 1998, and it was called Troop Beverly Hills, when they were the Wilderness Girls and not the Girl Scouts. Because it's kind of the same thing where this mom like has no experience and takes over Troop Beverly Hills.
Yeah, Girl Scouts didn't let them.
No, takes over Troop Beverly Hills with her little ragtag, but they're all like super rich but super like unmotivated. Except for one, Kelly Martin plays the non-rich. Her dad used to be rich. He was like a movie star, but they're down on their luck. Anyways, and basically they get together to try and sell cookies and make themselves better. And there's even a singing scene where this one girl busts out her, oh, yeah. And so I encourage everyone to watch True Beverly Hills. Not that I don't love Bailey Madison and Girl Scout cookies, and Patricia Richardson is amazing, but True Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I think normally I run at the camp every summer. I run the AIT unit, which is girls that are going into 7th grade, meaning they're about to be volunteers the next year. So we train them how to be volunteers. And on our sleepover every year, we always watch Troop Beverly Hills, but I've gotten a lot of flack from certain parents about that because it's rated PG-13 and all the girls are like 11, 12. So I'm thinking maybe I'll show this movie instead this year, and maybe then I won't get the, they're not 13, why are you showing them a PG-13 movie? Yeah, because I've gotten that. Yeah, I've gotten a few times like, this is PG-13, why are you showing it to our children? Which I totally understand, but like Troop Beverly Hills, like it's a rite of passage if you're a Girl Scout to watch Troop Beverly Hills. Yeah, but so we're on to my questions. Were either of you guys a Girl Scout? Did you like see any of your Girl Scouting history in this movie? Or
okay,
I'm gonna go no on both of those.
No, I have 2 Girl Scout stories. One, when my mom said you're going to brownies, I was like, okay, until, and I mean brownies is what, 5 or 6, something like that, until she drove me out. Yeah, how old are you? Like, you're young, right?
Yeah, it's different now. So like in the past like 10 years they've changed the levels. Now you're 6, 7, and possibly 8. But yeah.
Okay, because when I went, I remember being super young, but knowing enough to know that my mom pulled that up at a house I did not recognize, and I was like, what? I thought we were going. She's like, yeah, you get out here, you go to the meetings. I was like, at a stranger's house? I don't know anybody here. And she goes, yeah, she's the first meeting. I was like, no. And I didn't get out of the car, and that was the end of my brownies. But my kids wanted to do Girl Scouts, and I did it for a year. And then for some reason they were just like, okay, we're over it. And I was like, oh, I had visions of like them staying on through high school and like, you know, doing all of it and having all the patches and I had grand visions, and they all got deflated very quickly. We had fun that year though. It was fun.
Do you have any experience with Girl Scouting, Kaycee?
My experience involves eating those cookies.
Yeah, there's Lisa, I would say your experience is pretty normal with your daughters, just because a lot of girls will do it for a few years and then it'll either be like, oh, there's another after school activity that's more interesting, which I saw a lot with the other girls that were in my troop and stuff. We started out with my troop, we originally had 22 girls, and when we graduated from high school we had 4, and that wasn't even from the original girls. That was because 2 troops combined.
Well, that's the thing is
that was like 2 troops. Yeah.
Yeah, we live in an area where we don't really have any neighborhood troops, and so they've had to latch on to others, and those girls all go to school together, and they all hang out together. And then my kids were just kind of like the odd man out, and it was just kind of hard because we met at the school that those other kids went to, and they all knew each other. Their parents all knew each other, and it was just, I think they were just, and so, you know, the troop leader was like, you know, you could start your own troop, and I was like, I could. couldn't I? Well,
My mom was the troop leader.
and
It was.
the thing is I knew, I honestly, I had to be honest, and I was like, I have zero time for that, and that's not fair to not only my kids but other kids. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
When I went to visit Rachel in January, I brought two of my friends with me, and she's like, oh, how'd you guys meet? And I was like, well, Sammy was in my Girl Scout troop. We've known each other since we were 12. We're best friends. And then Mariah and I got thrown in 2 years ago to do camp together for an entire week. And, like, if you do Girl Scout camp together, you either come out hating each other or being best friends. So, like, that's awesome, how the three of us, like, all became friends. And it just like this movie specifically, I was like, you know, all the girls remind me of different girls in my troop, and, you know, the different obsessions. We had one boy crazy one, we had one that, you know, like, had a lot of family struggles that we, you know, helped him out with. You know, we had the girl who was being raised by a single dad, and there was always shenanigans with him. He was always doing weird things, but, like, out of goodness for his daughter, but he was always doing strange things. Like, yeah. And then I just wanted to give one more fun fact. The little girl, Bailey Madison, played a girl named Daisy, and that was a little nod to Girl Scouts, because the founder of Girl Scouts, her name was Juliet Lowe, but everyone called her Daisy, and so that was why they named the main character Daisy, as a little nod to her. And also the first level of Girl Scouting when you're in kindergarten is called Daisy. Yeah. So it was just a little cute when they said, when they said her name was Daisy, I'm like, oh, that's a little nod to Juliet Lowe, like the creator of Girl Scouts. Thank you, because it was 100 years and they're celebrating, and yeah. Aww. So I wanted to know, do you guys? Yes, go for it.
So at the very end, when they're at the Rose Parade, was that was that staged, or was that the actual thing?
I think that was staged. I'm pretty sure that part was staged, but that was that actually happened in, I think, 2012 in January. They actually had girls who had sold the most cookies the previous year on the parade float. That was not my troop, and I didn't go either. I was like, oh, I'm going to go to the Rose Parade this year. I've said that. I've lived in Southern California my entire life, and I still have yet to hit the Rose Parade. So, yeah, but that was, like, a big deal, like, especially in Southern California. If you lived here, you could go decorate the parade float if you wanted to and everything. But yeah, it did actually happen, but I'm pretty sure that scene was just staged because the scene was filmed, I believe, after it actually happened. If that makes sense. Like, it was after the and I also think they filmed it all completely in Canada. So yeah. Ranking then, Kaycee, what was your rating of this movie? I would give it a solid 4. Good, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. I think it's a 4. I love this movie. I'm look forward to showing it to my girls. Hopefully they'll like it, and they won't be like, oh my gosh, Miss Amy, this is so boring. Can we watch something more interesting?
You're like, True Beverly Hills next.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're all like 12 years old, and they're sitting there like, wow, we have to learn how to be volunteers, and I try to make it fun. So at the sleepover, I'm like, all right, we're going to do each other's nails and watch a movie, and then they're normally just like, this is so boring, Miss Amy, stop. Would air this on Hallmark today? Do you think they would air this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's totally clean. And Lisa, I didn't get your ranking. What would you rate this movie?
I am knocking off half a point because of my undying devotion to True Beverly Hills, so I will say a 3.5.
Alrighty, 3.5. Good. All right. So lastly, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the app. So we all watch this on the Hallmark. This is not sponsored, by the way. This is just us reviewing the app, so we can say whatever we like about it. But this is the Hallmark Channel app. So these movies are, I believe they're free, or do you have to, I signed in with my DirecTV. What did you guys have to do to get on this app? Yeah. So you have to sign in with your provider. So, like, was there any, like, problems you guys had with this app, or, like, was there anything weird that you experienced?
Okay, I have a lot of comments about the app, and I'm going to try and keep them very positive or constructive criticism. My initial issue is I wish that it wasn't just the Hallmark Channel. I wish that they had a little side button that you could flip over to the Movies and Mysteries channel and you could see what's also playing there because they don't have a Movies and Mystery Channel app. And apparently they're going to start doing more on the Drama Channel, and they won't have an app for that. And you get home, you get watch list, movies, live, show, schedule, and setting. And I'm like, give me the other channels. Same thing. Let me toggle over. And it's a little different now because before Hallmark Movies now, their streaming service, they used to offer a lot more movies on here, and now they've dramatically decreased those. But even on the other app, they're not very searchable. It's not a very intuitive. It's like, just show me them all. You don't need to section them out for me based on what you think my feelings are. Just give me an alphabetical order layout. I'll decide for myself what genre I think they fall into. So.
All right. What did you think? What do you think, Kaycee?
Yeah, so I didn't have any issues logging in. I have Philo, so they do accept Philo. And I watched Mail Order Bride on my iPad. The commercial breaks were not very, like, they came naturally. You know, they kind of like faded in, came naturally, the end. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Which one was it? And I don't know if it was a movie thing or if it was what I was using. But the other two movies I watched on my Amazon Fire Stick, and I felt like specifically in Lies Between Friends, the commercial breaks came in like super suddenly. It was like the girl's talking, she's talking, commercial break. And it was like, wait, I just need to digest what she just said because that's kind of crucial in what just... And then I think it was kind of like that for Smart Cookies too. So I don't know if it was like the mode that I was using or if it was the movies. So that was my thing. Like, you know, I get they have to run the ads, but if they're going to run the ads, like at least ease them in instead of like chop the end of the sentence and then like hop into like, oh, hey, I'm Volvo.
I think because I watched them all on my phone, and I'm not sure if there was a glitch or something, maybe when I watched it, but when I watched Mail Order Bride, like in the middle of it, all of a sudden it started playing ads, and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for the ads to end, I'm waiting for the ads to end, I'm waiting for the ads to end. It's been 10 ads. And I'm finally like, okay, are they going to ever start playing the movie again? It just kept going and going and going, and I was like, this has to be a glitch. So I like closed it and like restarted the app and everything, and then I had to watch 5 more ads to get back to the movie. Yeah. So I spent probably 20 some minutes watching ads. Ooh. And I was like, wait, I hope that was just a glitch and that's not like something that happens on the phone, like where you accidentally get. And a lot of them were repeat ads too, so I'm like, wow, I've seen the same drug commercial now 4 times. Like, are we moving on here? Yeah, and then just the other thing is, like, on my phone, you have to be super careful when you're watching a movie, because if one of the ads do come on and you accidentally touch your screen, it takes you straight to the website and takes you away from the app. And then, I don't know if it did this for you guys, but I know. And it restarted the ad when I went back.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, well, so I had to be super careful not to touch my phone at all, like, just hold it so that the ad didn't accidentally...
Well, sometimes you have to pause it, and sometimes you even have to pause it during the ad. I'll watch the ad. I get it. That's why this is free for me. But sometimes I just need to pause the ad because I need to go get something, or my phone drops on my face because I'm holding it and it drops, or I don't know, something. And yeah, I don't need to be taken to the webpage. Slow down. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that was my problem too.
Yeah.
With the iPad. Yeah, with the iPad, because I was holding it and I was just like, I would accidentally touch it and it would like, oh, boop. But it wouldn't restart. Like, it didn't restart the ad. It would just keep going when I would go back to the ad. So, I don't know. The Hallmark app is just weird, y'all. Weird.
Yes.
So, I definitely think there's some updates they could do on this app, maybe. you know, or if they're just really not going to, because I feel like they don't really update it as much anymore. If they're just not going to use it, then maybe they just, like, shouldn't have it anymore now that they have Hallmark movies now. Like, but I don't know.
Why can't they combine, not Hallmark movies now, that's its own thing, but why can't you combine a checklist and a main app together? Because on the checklist app, you can toggle between all of the different pairings. Man, throw that in there. I like a reminder. So on the main, just give me one app that I can just go to for all my channels and all my shows and all my movies. Give me a checklist. Like, just put them, just combine them for me. Just me.
It almost feels like the way that the, like, interface is for each app, it feels like they were designed by completely different people. Like, not by the same channel, which is kind of weird, but, you know. Kaycee, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Hallmark My Words, and my blog is linked there.
Alrighty, awesome. What about you, Lisa?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Girl Gone Hallmark.
Alrighty, awesome. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at It's a Egg. And on YouTube, you follow all of the social medias for Hallmark. It'll be linked down below. And also, let me know about my hosting skills. Should I replace Rachel? I'm kidding. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking.
Maybe we have. Y'all just don't know. Maybe
Rachel secretly... Yeah. Rachel secretly left the podcast. We just don't want to tell you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah. She's still here. She was just busy. And so I decided to help her out. But yes, thank you, Rachel, for allowing us to do this and give me a shot at hosting. I really appreciate it. But yeah, again, follow all the Hallmarkies links down below. And we will see you guys all next time. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.